Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today at Women Have Needs Too by LindaQ TV. Today, Women Have Needs Too. Right now, I need to learn more about what's going on with the events industry. So we have a returning guest today, Misty MacGregor with TarponSpree, and a new guest, Sarah Ennis White, Events and Marketing. Today, we are just going to delve into what's going on. We want to know, inquiring minds want to know, what's going on with the events industry. We know that there have been some things put in place for safety and concern over the event industry, that's going on in restaurants. And we know what's going on in the events industry for corporate events, small events, weddings, association events. But I've noticed, and I don't know if you ladies have noticed, but still people are a little leery of planning that meeting, booking that hotel, booking that convention center. Are we going to put our wedding on hold? I know somebody who's we just met somebody this weekend, they're putting their wedding on hold until next November because of COVID. Okay? So I would like to talk today about what is happening in the events industry and how can we convey the safety net of what's going on. Who wants to start?
Yeah.
And all eyes are pointing
all
on
eyes
you,
on
Sarah.
me. Okay. I mean,
we haven't heard from her yet.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
New blood.
So, it's hard to say. I mean, the events industry is massive, and we have all different types of events within the industry. I mean, you mentioned weddings. We've got meetings. We've got association events. There's nonprofit fundraisers. And I think you have to look at every event and every event type individually. I don't think that there's a uniform answer across the board because the situation surrounding every event is different, and the reasons behind hosting those events are different. If you're getting married, you have a little bit more flexibility than, let's say, a nonprofit who, if they don't have their fundraiser, they cease to exist.
And they're not creating those funds that they need to carry on and give back to where they are, what they're planning on giving
Absolutely.
back to.
And fundraisers, or not just fundraisers, but those nonprofits are serving more people than ever. I mean, there are more people in this time who are relying on nonprofits for food, for, supplemental income, for all sorts of things. And if they don't do their fundraising, they don't get the funds, they can't serve the people who need them most now more than ever.
And it's a tough situation because especially the people who are still in furlough or still laid off, they're not just ready to write a check out to a nonprofit organization to support that cause. Right now, they're their own nonprofit.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so it's something I wrote in a LinkedIn comment one time because virtual events are serving a purpose. Let's just get that straight right now. I mean, we're here with you today virtually.
Yep.
All right, we understand that. But something I wrote in a LinkedIn, and a few people kind of agreed with me. But here's an analogy. Let's just say you have a spouse that travels for their job. It's nice to get a couple days for them to be away. But you always look forward to them coming back home because you don't want a virtual spouse. And what about our children who go away to college? And you get to see them, for those holidays and those long weekends and that type of thing, or they could just come home to do laundry. But can you imagine having a virtual relationship with your spouse or a virtual relationship with your child? I have a child. He's 32, but I still could not imagine that I never get to hug and kiss him again. And trade shows and events are person to person and in face to face for a reason, because that's where business gets done.
It's a different type of connection.
I mean, and you build that relationship, that connection. It's all about the connection. I have a gala event coming up that is going to be Zoom, and And I had asked one of the coordinators, I said, can we meet beforehand at least? Because that way I'll at least have one familiar face that, I can relate to. And so now, we had dinner Sunday night, and now, I know somebody that's going to be on the Zoom call. Before I didn't know anybody, and it makes all the difference in the world. But we initialized it with a face-to-face meeting. So I am all about catapulting and helping us get back to face-to-face. And I did it for almost 20 years, and it's a viable way of communicating. It's a viable way of doing business. It's a viable way for fundraising. Mm-hmm. And wouldn't it be funny if somebody had a Zoom wedding where the husband and wife-to-be were on separate rooms? And saying I do. Wouldn't that be an interesting honeymoon?
I'm not sure you can legally do that.
No,
can you even legally get married?
We can only hope not, and that weddings will continue. Okay?
Yeah.
We're all on the same page here. So creative ideas of things that are being, ingenuity, the things that are taking place. Who wants to give some feedback?
Well, with large conferences, if you have breakout sessions, that's something that you can kind of keep control over, like how many people are coming into that breakout session. I've done events like in venues that there's, breakout sessions that have an entry, and then on the other side of the room, there's an exit. So, you don't have to have people walking the same way or different ways.
So not only one entry, one exit. You have multiple entries, multiple exits.
Right. So, if you have something like that and you can kind of take people through those breakouts with arrows on the floor, or maybe have them go through a small hall with some vendors in it, there's different ways that you can kind of herd the cattle along to those areas.
Yeah. But with breakout sessions too, you're talking smaller groups of people, so you also have the ability to distance those people within the room as well.
True.
To separate seats or limit the number of people sitting at a table or something like that. And it just makes people feel more comfortable to know you're making the effort to put safety measures in place.
I have been to a few networking events, and there are no more buffets. There's no going in and having a large platter of food and picking out what you want. They're all compartmentalized for you, where you pick up your own little box. Yeah, it's a pretty box. And believe it or not, and most of the time we've all had masks on as well. And the photos were socially distanced. Yeah. So boy, do we have that wide lens come in.
Yeah. Panoramic.
But these things can happen, and you can still have a face-to-face conversation and meet people that you wouldn't have met sitting at home or in a Zoom call. And again, it has served its purpose. I just don't see it as an end-all be-all. And I'd like to see that confidence level build up to where we can start getting back to, it may not be business as usual, but it'll be business as usual and the same settings that we are used to, but looking at it in a different way and approaching it in a different way. And I know we've had temperature checks at every meeting that I've gone to. You have a temperature check. If you have a temperature, you left. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I think something that will really change the game in 2021 for especially larger events, conferences, trade shows, things like that. So there's a lot of talk of rapid tests becoming privately available, where you're not having to go through a clinic or a hospital or a doctor's office to get a rapid test. They'd be available for private purchase for individuals or companies to utilize. And so I think if that is something that comes to fruition, would be a game changer in terms of attendance for those in-person events.
Yes. Now, when I spoke with Misty a few weeks ago, we discussed her pivot for COVID. How have you pivoted your business through COVID?
So the big pivot has been taking things virtually for now, because you have to meet people where they are.
Right.
As people in the events industry, we want to see it go back.
Yes,
to
we do.
In person.
And I don't think we're rushing it along.
I don't think we are either. But if people still aren't ready to come back, you sort of have to gauge with each event. So that's been a big pivot, is evaluating each event on an individualized basis to see where it's at, and then helping people, if they had in-person events planned, helping them pivot online, specifically with nonprofits, so they can continue to raise the funds they need to raise to serve the population who needs it right now.
Good. And what have you been doing with the nonprofits, like virtually for the fundraising events and that type of thing?
Yeah, so it's looked different for every organization, and it honestly depends on if they wanted to take their in-person event that they've done for years and mimic that experience in an online virtual environment, or if they've wanted to just abandon that old plan and say, let's do something brand new. I think in every situation we've had to do a mind shift set where we're not going to have the same turnout virtually that we had in person, and we aren't going to raise the same amount of money that we did in person.
Right.
So maybe we have to do 2 or 3 smaller events to still meet that fundraising goal that you have for the year. And we're just going to find ways to make them fun. You have to get creative and innovative now because...
And it's true, too, but I can tell you, in the meeting planning industry and the events industry, we're, the people I know and across the country, they are a group of people who are constantly, evolving.
Yes.
And always looking for a new way to do things, a new creative way to be, to be successful and have it successful for their group. Yeah. Misty, what kind of things have you been working on for the events industry?
Related to COVID? Sorry.
Yes. to help those people.
Basically answering any questions that they have or they may feel uncomfortable. If there's a group that you have and there's a lot of questions that are being asked, it might be a good idea to go on and do a post or a blog or something for your event and go ahead and get those questions answered. So that's one thing that you can do. I know that when people are picking out venues, some of them, with a larger crowd, they may, the Global Biorisk Advisory Council may come into play. They may want to, make sure that venue is accredited,
right?
So that their guests feel more comfortable when they come to, when they travel in. But yeah, I think it's mostly being available to answer any questions that they have to make sure that they're comfortable. That's a big key factor.
Good. And do you have a list of things that the meeting planner should look at and think about before or as they're choosing these events and choosing their menus and that type of thing? Either one of you.
I don't have a printed list that I run down every time, but I certainly look at every event, again, on an individualized basis. And when we're talking about venues, doing a comparison of what is their everyday capacity compared to what do we hope our attendance to be, and ensuring that there's enough space to allow room for vendors, to allow room for the attendees, and provide enough space for people to spread out. Because where one person may feel comfortable being in a certain room or in an enclosed environment, someone else may not. And someone else may want to have a little bit more distance between themselves and the vendor or themselves and other guests. So being sure to choose a venue that I'm looking really at venues that are double to triple the capacity of what our expected attendance is.
That's a good rule of thumb. Yeah.
Yeah. To just that way ensure that we aren't stacking on top. We have the space and we have the ability to make people comfortable.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Anything to add to that? No.
No, I think that's perfect. What she said.
Yeah.
So tell me, Sarah, what is Sarah Ennis White Events and Marketing? What kind of groups do you specialize in? What have you specialized in the past?
Yeah, so typically working with small to mid-sized businesses and helping them utilize events as part of their overall marketing strategy. Because I think we touched on it in the beginning, in-person events help you build that connection, that human connection that's so important in business.
Right.
For any size business, no matter the industry, to be able to connect with someone, to find commonality, to appreciate who they are as a person, not just what they do for business. And it's that saying, people over product. And events allow small businesses and mid-sized businesses to build that relationship outside of the sales environment. And so that's been the group that I've worked with primarily up till COVID has been small to mid-sized businesses and helping them find ways to create those in-person experiences with potential customers or build a relationship with existing customers as well.
And I see this as an opportunity for people who've never had events before.
Yes.
I mean, it could be the car wash on the corner, you know, where they have just people coming in all day long. I mean, there's probably a lot of people where the car washes were closed down too. And so now people have gotten used to washing their car at home. The gyms, okay, they never have done, you know, events. Person, they have had their memberships, but then people started getting used to working out at home.
Yeah.
You know?
We built a home gym in the middle of COVID and canceled our gym memberships.
Right. And so those are the types of businesses, and not just those types, but there are a lot of businesses that have never had face-to-face meetings that might start thinking about it as a marketing opportunity, not, you know, not a fundraising event, not, you know, they don't have maybe not a membership as far as like an association membership, but like a corporate membership, like a gym membership.
Yeah.
I almost named somebody. Ooh, that was close. I have no favoritism.
Yeah, the show is not sponsored.
I work out at home. I don't belong to a gym.
I work out at home too.
Well, even too, I mean, going into the holiday season. I mean, we're approaching holiday season. Believe it or not, it is October already.
Yes.
Middle of October.
I know, middle of October, and the holidays.
Where did this crazy...
I swear yesterday was July.
year
Like,
go?
I don't know.
I know, but somebody said something about spring, and I'm like, spring? That was just a couple months. No, it was a long time ago.
Yeah,
Like
8 months ago. Yeah. But even going into the holiday season, using events as a way to just spread good cheer throughout your community or build the
Spread joy.
good. Yeah, exactly. Build goodwill.
Yeah.
Just show the community that you're there to support them, that you weren't just looking to get something from them,
Yes.
that you're there to support them, and in turn, they will support you as well.
So in our condominium, we have a Christmas party every year. And, you know, a few of the people go. Well, I shouldn't say a few. I mean, half of the building goes. And one other lady and myself were like, because everybody's condo's different, you
Yeah.
know? And I swear I am going somewhere with this story. But I suggested to her, I said, wouldn't it be fun? Because she said, it would be, I want to go into everybody's condo and see what they've did, how they've renovated their
Holiday
condo.
house of
Because we
joy.
live at one of the oldest condominiums on the street. And it was built in 75. But a really good friend of ours, her condo is decorated beautifully. And my husband says, it doesn't even look like it's at the same address. Okay? But so I said, well, wouldn't it be cool that if, instead of just having a Christmas party, you know, in the party room, we call it, you know, appropriately.
Yeah.
But instead of doing that, how about if we do a progressive party where, and then you get to see each other's condos, how they've redecorated, and some of them have gutted it and have a totally different floor plan, and there's only like 4 floor plans in the whole place. But, and do that. And so we brought it to the attention of one of the board members, and she's like, okay, that sounds like a great idea. We'll have to put it, and now the people still have that fear of going into these, and that's my point, is that there's still this shadow hanging over us.
Uncertainty.
And
Absolutely.
And the thing is, my belief, and I think it's not even a belief, it's just fact, that never in history have meetings and events or our lives in general, walking out the front door, there is no fail-safe to go through the day.
Yeah.
Okay? There's always been germs, there's always been flus, and I understand that COVID's a little different because it's the fear of the unknown, but I think we've learned a lot about it, and they have addressed the implications of it and the benefits of certain drugs and they're getting rid of it. And there's a 99-something% survival rate. So there's always been something to catch, and there always will be something to catch. And I think in the first time in our lives and you know, our multiple generations, there's been something hit so hard that it has forced us to make a change in the way things. I mean, there are times I walk up to people and I'm putting my hand out to shake, and they're like, and so.
We did today. We shook.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but nice to meet you.
And I still shake and I hug, but I do ask ahead of time, are you a shaker, hugger? You know, but it has, I think, permanently pivoted our stature, how we our behavior, and meeting new people and seeing people that I mean, my sister didn't hug and kiss me through most of COVID. She just started hugging and kissing me again. Thank you, Cindy. I love you. But I miss that.
Yeah.
And there are a bunch of people in the meetings industry that I know are missing having face-to-face meetings. And so that's the goal, you know, get us back out there and get back to face-to-face. We're going to live through this. You know, the majority of us are going to, you know, like 99% of us are going to live through it, I think. And I know. And I just appreciate both of you ladies being here today. And have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I would say a big thing is you have to look outside of yourself and figure out ways that you can make everyone feel comfortable. If we want to bring them back and bring them back quickly, we have to be catering to all of our attendees. While some of them are comfortable going out,
Well said.
Yeah, there are people who aren't, and you don't know when they will be. So finding ways to cater to
everybody,
to everyone as
Exactly.
best you can. It's
Yes.
hard. We all know you can't please everyone in
No,
this
but
world.
you're right.
But if it means you put your speakers online,
Mm-hmm.
so that way someone who's not comfortable traveling to the event can still engage in the content.
I think that's
from
key
the
as
safety
well.
of their own home.
And there are a lot of, go ahead.
I think that the whole experience with COVID has really forced us to get innovative. Going back to that again.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's all kinds of things you can do. I mean, they've got, you know, dance rooms where you've got the headphones and you can be listening to different stations and stuff, and it helps people, you know, spread out and mingle at the same time. And you know, I really feel like, you know, we've seen a lot of really cool stuff. We've seen a lot of really cool stuff in our careers overall,
Yes.
being in trade shows and corporate events. But now we're seeing all this inventive stuff, and you don't have, you know, it just proves that there's so many ways to do things, you know?
Yes, there's more than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I figured maybe I should stay away from that one.
Staying away from that today.
We're not skinning any cats.
Yeah, no.
We're just trying to create a better world in the events industry. That's
Yes.
all.
And smile while doing it.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
we and to your point, Sarah, is yes, we need to approach it with everybody's conscious in mind. There are people that have compromised or susceptible people at home, so they're being careful for that person and for themselves. And we do need to keep all that in mind. And then there are people like me who, I mean,
She hugs everybody.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it
And
too is it's a win-win all around, because there are always conflicts to in-person events, whether it's a conflict of schedule or a travel issue or a budget issue or something like that prohibits someone from attending or engaging with your event. When we are creating an environment such as a hybrid event where you've got in-person and virtual, you're breaking down that barrier. And so, you know, what I tell people is look at this environment as a positive and a way to reach people that you wouldn't otherwise be able to reach.
And the hybrid event, I think, is the key, because then you can help those people who need to stay home for whatever reason, and also be there for the people who need to be there face to face. And I think that is a very good point, and that something that we all need to remember. You know, we need to please everybody.
Try.
As best you can.
Try.
Yeah. You're never going to, but
Never
as best
going
you
to.
can. As
No,
best
that's
you can.
true. But we're going to strive for that.
Yeah.
And I want to thank both of you being here today, and I really appreciate the input and the clarity on a couple things. And let's just move forward and make this a better world for everybody, and including the event industry. And so thank you so much for being here with us today. Women Have Needs. Oh, I forgot. Here, hold this for me. We have gifts.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
It's like being on Oprah.
They got
I
smashed on the
know.
way here. Yeah, only better.
You get a bag, and you get a bag.
You can visit Women Have Needs Too at womenhaveneeds2.com. This is our upside down high heels. Let me see if I can get that on. Upside down high heels to make our W, and Women Have Needs Too on the back. And you can fill in the blank. But we are going to have another set of shirts that come out that are going to be a little bit more customized. And we have hats.
Oh, I love the hats.
Ooh.
Yeah, I love the hats too. So come visit our site. A portion of every sale goes to a group called Created that fights human trafficking in the Tampa, Florida area. And so we appreciate, you can go Christmas shopping or Halloween shopping or any kind of shopping that you want. Take care and have a great day.